But where are we? Are we in a recession right now? Let's get the read from Gary Kaltbaum, Kaltbaum Capital Management. We've also got Austan Goolsbee here, former Obama Economic Council Chair, and Frances Newton Stacy. Frances, let me get your view of this. Are we in a recession?
Yes, I think so. And really everything, being probabilities, and we have a lot of anomalies coming out of COVID. But the thing is we've never had 2 negative quarters of GDP growth and not had a recession go alongside that. So again, the probability is that we are in a recession. And what's very interesting is the jobs are typically a lagging indicator. Markets are very anticipatory. And despite the fact that the Federal Reserve raised rates 75 basis points or 0.75%, the yields on bonds are actually going down. So markets are trading as if it's a recession. Gold is going up and had a reversal, silver's going up, and bonds are going down. So the markets are anticipating recession.
All right, now the markets aren't always Nostradamus, Gary Kaltbaum, but they do seem to be telegraphing a slowdown. Now, whether that, confirms the numbers we've been seeing, the markets even seem to prefer that scenario than a willy-nilly upward trajectory in interest rates. So where do you see it?
The markets soared in this month, and it's on the back of 2 things and 2 things only right now. The 10-year yield topped June 17th. The S&P bottomed June 17th. Commodity prices topped over the last month to 2 months, and that's helped out the situation big time. And what you have going right now is you have gas prices went from 502 down to 423. That's good news. The bad news, it's still 423. Yields are down to 2.6 and change. Good news. The bad news is that's still double what it was a year ago. So there's a lot to work out. And look, on just an individual personal basis, the families I speak to, the people I speak to, they're just paying a ton more for everything. Affordability for housing because of that bubble is troublesome. You've seen it in mortgage applications and some of the other statistics you talked to with Gene Sperling. There's a lot that has to be taken care of. And I'm just worried because what are we getting? A big tax and spend out of this administration, the opposite of what we saw with the last administration, where they lowered taxes across the board and the economy skyrocketed. I wish they would look at history, and I just don't think that's going to happen with the Biden administration right now.
To be fair, Gary, the last administration was not loath to spending a lot of money. You could argue at the time with COVID, maybe it was justified. But you're right, there is a different style altogether. But Austan, let me get your take on not so much a recession or not a recession, because it is very different than the 70s experience. I lived through that. The leisure suits notwithstanding, which were tough enough. I remember odd, even days waiting to fill up your gas tank and all of that. So I don't see us anything close to that. I see a backdrop of still strong jobs, better than 11 million job openings in this country. I get that. I get where Gene's coming from. But do you think the administration risks looking tone deaf when it dismisses a lot of this? And I know what Gene was saying about some of these pockets of growth that's out there, but does it look clueless?
You kind of put him in a gotcha situation, Neil. We're old friends, but I think you put him in a gotcha situation where there was literally nothing he could say. There's obviously inflation. Inflation is not a recession. Inflation makes people upset. Consumer confidence has been quite low since there's been inflation, since gas prices were higher. That doesn't mean that we should call it a recession. I think
well, what is your definition of recession? I know the National Bureau of Economic Research, that they come up, these 8 economists, with charting the beginning and the end of a recession. I get that. What do you look at, Austan? When you were in the Obama administration, what did you look at?
I don't look to come up with the phrase, is that a recession or not a recession? I think where you are correct.
Because you knew it was. You knew when you came into office it was a recession. There was no doubt, right?
We've never had a recession in the United States where jobs were growing. So on that point, I think they're right. We haven't been in a recession the first several months of this year. But where I think it's not tone deaf, but where I think they are running a risk with their language is the Fed is raising rates as fast as they've ever raised them. And if you look at the 14 recessions since World War II, by far the most common cause of actual recessions is the Fed raising interest rates faster than the economy can handle. So
do you think the Fed is doing that?
we might
Austan,
very well be in a
that?
recession. Hold on, Neil. We might very well be in a recession soon. And then everything that they're saying now about the first 3 or 6 months of this year are going to just look completely out of time and out of touch. That's what I think.
All right. All right, Francis, I think he's arguing we're not in a recession. You think we are in a recession. We could just get back and forth on this semantic battle. But what if it's just a shallow one then? What if it's just a slowdown? What if the economy, as Ken Langone was telling me, the founder of Home Depot, we're receding, we're not necessarily in a recession, but to him it doesn't matter. What do you think?
Well, inflation is not where the hockey puck is going. It's where the hockey puck has been. Commodities prices have fallen off of a cliff, but there is a several-month delay before those price changes show up in CPI, which is the headline inflation that they pay attention to. And then next, jobs, we have negative earnings growth. Over half of the S&P 500 who has reported earnings is guiding forward with negative earnings growth. So the thing is that they're not going to be hiring. Tech has put a hiring freeze. So the jobs
bottom line,
are a lagging indicator.
All of this portends
yes,
things are going to slow down. So Gary Kaltbaum,
recession.
sorry to jump on you real quickly, Gary. Do you think getting worse or better? The markets seem to be signaling they could get better. Just looking at stock prices, they're not always, 20/20 on this. But what do you think?
I'd be careful about the market. I've seen big bear market rallies in the past that failed pretty quickly.
Okay.
I'm looking at one thing now, Neil, and that's the job market. If we lose the job market, the recession we're in is going to deepen, and then trouble is going to show up in a much bigger way, and we're probably going to see some -2s in GDP.
We'll watch closely. I want to thank you all for coming in on a Saturday. Appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.